And back with another video. I'm going over my story that I made. I started this 10th grade and I'm now a graduate. So, hope you enjoy. This is going to be an extremely long video because I have almost about 20 pages in this one back to back. It's all fine print. Anyway, this is called The Hybrid Murder by your one and only Finn Spinosaurus. So, you got me on that one. It all started with me trying to contact and by the way, this is my rough draft. I've typed some up, it's a little bit more revised, but I don't want to read that because I barely typed up anything. This is all rough draft, and I try doing the best I can, then I revise, type in. Anyway, it all started with me trying to contact my friend Tsunami on the walkie-talkie. I was in an abandoned small one-story house that I started to explore. I wanted her there with me because I was getting a bit scared. And it was starting to get dark and I had a very dim flashlight, about as dim as my dumb ideas on me. I walked into the kitchen with me and my flashlight, when I found it, a bigger flashlight, on the floor next to a spilled, moldy bag of bread flour. I picked it up and was surprised that it turned on. As the light flickered on, the beam fell on a glass of water. I scream when it breaks. Tsunami screams back through the walkie-talkie. What is it? Did something scare you? I replied, I really don't want to talk about it. Tell me. Tsunami, don't laugh when I tell you, I said. Tsunami replied, I won't, promise. I screamed when I saw a glass of water break. And asterisk, I put Tsunami laughing her tail off. The next room I entered, I have past and present tense in here, just want to let you know, so don't judge me on that. The next room I enter is the living room. What I found next would haunt me for the rest of my life. There in the corner of the room was a dead dragon. I screamed into the walkie-talkie, help, help, I need help. Tsunami. What is it this time? Another glass of water? Me? No, worse. My voice cracking. A dead dragon. Tsunami. Oh no. Her voice sounding grave. Me. Get Glory and meet me at the clubhouse in the woods. You know where it is. Bark out. I snapped a few pictures of the crime scene with my small camera. I ran out of the house as fast as I could. When I got outside, I found my bike and my utility bag and duct taped the flashlight I found to my handlebars. It's pitch black now. I got on my bike and sped off. 30 minutes of fast off-road biking later, I arrived. The clubhouse is really an abandoned two-story house in the middle of the woods. I found it while biking randomly in the woods. I asked Tsunami, Moon, Glory, and Starflight if they wanted to restore the house, and they said they would. Starflight worked in the basement. He likes the dark. Moon helped me bring supplies. Glory worked on the roof. Moon helped bring supplies. Glory worked on the roof, and me and Tsunami cleaned the house. As I came skidding to a stop in front of the clubhouse, my bright flashlight died. Here we go again. Rolling my eyes at that fact. As soon as I entered the doorway, Starflight swung down from the closest rafter to the door, upside down, claws up, mouth in a snarl, and yelled, "Boo!" I fell back, tripping on the door frame, and went sprawling on the steps. While Starflight was laughing at his little prank, I screamed, "Starflight, do you know how hard it is to deal with finding a dead dragon?" That shut him up. "You what? A dead dragon?" "Yes, Starflight, you heard that correctly," I said. "You positive what you saw was real?" Starflight responded. "Yes, here's proof," I said as I tossed the crime scene pictures on the kitchen table. That doesn't make sense. Anyway. Here, I said, please examine the pictures, and we'll talk about them in a bit. Also, how'd you get here so fast? I've been here the whole time, Starflight explained, touching up the place. So you didn't know about the murder? No, not till you yelled at me about it after I scared you, replied Starflight. Sorry for yelling at you, Starflight. I'll forgive him. Now try to contact Tsunami again. So I did, or tried to at least. All I got was static. Me and Starflight looked at each other and knew we were in for a lot of danger. All of a sudden, the walkie-talkie came back to life. Brock, you there? Tsunami's voice. Thank God. Tsunami, where are you? Starflight yelled. Starflight, don't worry, we're over the... And then there's a sound of rushing wind through it. Then there's a large thud on the roof of the clubhouse. What was that? I asked as I looked up, expecting to see a glass of water break. Hate to say this, Starflight explained, but I think that Tsunami might have dropped her walkie-talkie. Then the front door burst open and two dragons pile in, Tsunami and Glory. Soon all four of us were piled in the living room. Once everyone was settled in, I started the meeting. Okay, thank you for all showing up and being alive. Before I start talking about today's events, I want to clarify. Tsunami, was that thud on the roof my Tsunami? Yes, that was your walkie-talkie. It hit some branches over the house and I dropped it. I looked out the window and see a big flash of lightning. A really long flash, almost too long. In the luminescence, I saw a dragon the color of rich black charcoal. It was grinning a grin of painfully white teeth, holding a knife in its claws. No, not a knife. A machete. That was the last thing I saw before I passed out. 2 hours later, I woke up and the first thing I noticed was that there were no windows in the room I'm in. Starflight sitting next to me, so I asked him, Starflight, what happened? Starflight said, you passed out after looking out the window. The memory flooded back. The charcoal black dragon, the smug grin with painfully white teeth, the machete, and the gray, cold, hard eyes, the eyes of a killer. The look on my face told Starflight everything. He whispered to me, so no one else could hear. We know why you blacked out. We saw you look up, and we followed your gaze, and saw the figure too. That's why we're in the panic room. Hey, said Glory, shouldn't we get some sleep? Yeah, I said, let's get some sleep. Everyone agreed. The next day. Hello, hello, is this thing on? I said into my invisible microphone I was holding. Okay, first things first. We need more people to help us with this investigation. Here's Starflight, I said as I tossed him a spare walkie-talkie. Try to contact Moon and I'll try to contact someone I also know. 5 minutes later, there was a knock on the back door. I rushed to open the door. Cobra, said Glory as I opened it. Ah, I screamed. Ah, I screamed and dropped my invisible microphone. I heard a thunk and a rolling sound. There goes my invisible microphone. That's a you problem, I heard Tsunami say from the other room. Anyway, said Glory, welcome back. Thanks, said Cobra. Oh, by the way, Moon's here. I feel her presence. She's on the left side of the house. How? I heard Moon shout from somewhere around the corner of the house. How do you always know where I am, Cobra? Like I told you a million times, I have a talent. Okay, I broke in. Let's get inside. Well, okay, I broke in. Let's get inside before anything bad happens. I spoke too soon. After the words left my mouth, a wicked sharp CD came flying out of nowhere and embedded itself into the siding next to my head. Everyone inside, I yelled as I grabbed the whatever that thing was that almost killed me. On the way in, Moon bumped my hand in a CD-looking thing. I screamed in pain but didn't let it go. Cobra grabbed my sweatshirt hood. Sorry, I lost my place. pulling me in the house. That, though, cut my hand even more. I grabbed it by putting my pointer finger in the center of it, and my hand on top of it. Luckily, when Cobra pulled me in, the sharp CD popped loose, so I didn't get my fingers sliced off. Before I get further in the story, Cobra is a human, not a dragon. As soon as I landed on the floor, another one flies out of nowhere. And landed between my legs. I scrambled up and shut the door as fast as I could. How I shut it, though, almost killed me. I stood in front of the space between the door and the door frame. As I shut it, another disc flew right at my face and got caught literally 2 damn millimeters from hitting me between the eyes. I fainted dead away. 20 minutes later, I'm back having the walkie-talkie conversation with Tsunami. I look out the window, and I see in the lightning flash the charcoal-colored dragon, a grin of painfully white teeth, the machete, and them cold gray eyes, the eyes of the killer. Ah! I wake up with a start. Cobra rushed to me and gave me a big hug and a kiss. Thank God you're alive. I don't know what I would do without you. Also, I have a confession to make. Hold that thought. That I'm getting rid of. Anyway, so I wake up with a start. Cobra rushed to me. It gave me a big hug and a kiss. Thank God you're alive. I don't know what I'd do without you. Now leave that. Anyway. Also, I have a confession to make. Similar to Moon's powers, I can read dreams. So you know what I've been dealing with, I said, on the verge of crying. Thank God. After I said that, she hugged me even tighter. I cried on her shoulder. Half an hour later. Okay, thanks for all showing up, I said, into my invisible microphone. I made a light to find any invisible object. That's why I have my microphone again. I'm going to dive right in. Yesterday, I found an abandoned house in the woods about 4 to 5 miles away. I walked in and started exploring. First, I went to the kitchen, found myself a bigger flashlight. Next, I went to the living room, and there in the corner was a dead dragon. Starflight, please display the evidence and explain your findings. The dragon appears to be a hybrid between a nightwing and a skywing. You can see a bit of black scales and red scales. Upon a closer look, the dragon's throat is slit, exposing blue blood, and a lot of it. That means that dragon is also part Icewing. Made a mistake. I made a mistake, though. I looked at the pictures I gave to Starflight. I ran to the upstairs bathroom as fast as I could, not knowing that Cobra followed me. I threw up, opened the medicine cabinet, and grabbed the bottle of ibuprofen, swallowed 2 pills dry, and washed my face in the sink. I looked up at my reflection and see charcoal. Cobra yelled and dragged me out of the bathroom, right in time. 3 sharp discs came flying out of the mirror and shattered the tile mosaic on the opposite side. I got to my feet with Cobra beside me and ran. No, tumbled down the stairs, making me black out for a 3rd time. 30 seconds later. Ow, I said, looking around, trying to make everything come back into focus. I remember seeing a charcoal-colored dragon as my reflection in the mirror. Cobra dragging me out of the bathroom, and me falling head over feet down the stairs. Then, nothing. I heard someone had a nice fall, said Glory. Yeah, and I'm ready to spring in to get this investigation over with, I said. I said back. Okay, that proves it, Starflight said. Proves what? I said back. Proves you're being targeted by charcoal and he's an animus. How'd you find out his name? I asked. Starflight replied. The sharp disc you pulled out of the siding had words engraved on it. I washed all your blood off of it, and I noticed some words on it, but couldn't quite make them out. I rubbed some charcoal on it from the fireplace, and a message appeared. It read, I'll see you soon. Charcoal. Wow, I said. An ironic twist. Speaking of cuts on my hands. Speaking of cuts, I looked at my hands and looked down at them. There were none, only scars. I looked at Cobra and mouthed the words. Are you an animus? Cobra mouthed the words. No, I'm not. Back at me. I nodded my head in acknowledgement. I gathered everyone and said, everyone, dining room, now. Once everyone was in the dining room, I started. Me. Clear his throat. Okay, we're dealing with an animus. Everyone turns to Cobra. No. Why Cobra? No, it's not her. Charcoal. We're dealing with charcoal. How I know? One, the discs. The discs popped out of nowhere and were all aimed at me. And two, the mirror incident. When I went upstairs after glancing at the crime scene photos, I went into the bathroom. You can guess what I did. After that, I washed my face in the sink, looked up, and there was charcoal with 3 discs between his claws. I would say I was hallucinating, but Cobra saw him too in the mirror and pulled me out of the bathroom as he threw them out at me. Mirror shattered as the disc flew out and got caught in the mosaic tiles opposite of the mirror. Cobra. I assume charcoal can be invisible at any time he wants. That explains why me and Tsunami couldn't find any traces of where the disc came from. Me. Oh my god, that's it. Remember how I found my invisible microphone? I think I could make it so my bigger and brighter flashlight can do the same thing, but amplify the power so that whatever is invisible appears visible for an extended period of time. End of meeting. Okay, I said, let's get to work. Cobra, I need you to make some cut-proof gloves. Before I started working on my flashlight, I went to the kitchen to make an espresso. As the espresso machine poured my drink, I heard a ting behind me. Turned toward the sound, came face to face with Charcoal. What the fuck? Surprise, surprise, said Charcoal. Why is such a shocked expression on your face? Why is such a stupid look on your face? I snapped back. I could see the hatred in his eyes. There was now smoke coming out of his snout. I thought, is he going to barbecue me? No, I thought to myself. No, instead he buried his claws in my left foot. Ah! I screamed at the top of my lungs. No one came running. Once I realized no one's here anymore, I stopped screaming. I told Charcoal, fighting my pain, to can play that game. And I stomped on his claws. With normal shoes, would have done 0 damage. Today, I was wearing my steel work boots I made myself. Heard bones and claws break. Charcoal screamed in pain and let go of me for about a split second. All the time I needed. I reached behind me, grabbing my espresso, and with all my strength I smashed it over Charcoal's head. Charcoal dropped his machete, momentarily stunned. With one fluid motion, I swept up the machete and put Charcoal in a chokehold, pressing the machete against his throat. Get out! I screamed at him. Unfreeze my friends and vanish before I cut your throat like you did to that other dragon. Okay, said Charcoal. With that, he vanished. Where are you? I heard Cobra yell. I'm in the kitchen. Please help. With that, I heard footsteps running towards the kitchen. Moon was the first one in the kitchen. I saw part of what happened. You alright? No, I responded. Charcoal stabbed his claws in my foot. Cobra, Moon yelled. We need gauze. Lots of it. Hey, I said. I got Charcoal's machete. I handed it to Moon. Should have not said anything, though. A split second later, Charcoal reappears, grabs the machete out of my hands, and says, No, you don't, and vanishes again, but this time with his machete. Shit, I said. Hey, said Cobra, watch your mouth, and threw the gauze roll at my face. Sorry, I said. How long was I gone for? I asked Starflight. 4 hours, he replied. Then I asked Cobra while I was fighting Charcoal. Did you finish the project I asked you to? Yeah, I did, replied Cobra. I almost finished yours too. 2 days later. Okay, we're here. What now? Tsunami asked me. When we arrived at the abandoned one-story house, we find charcoal and make him surrender, I said back. Hey Brock, said Moon. Did charcoal espresso any feelings went, ow, my tail. Looked at the end of Moon's tail, and what do you know? A sharp CD was in her tail. A literal CD this time. Bryan Adams' Cuts Like a Knife album. Nice play, Charcoal, said Cobra, as she pulled out the CD from Moon's tail. No answer. Only the wind blowing. Okay, I said, as Cobra bandaged Moon's tail. I'm going inside. As soon as I step inside, I get clobbered by what I think was a frying pan. Down for the count again. 45 minutes later. Well, actually, I should probably put an unknown time later. I wake up with a scream because 1, I'm still in the abandoned house, and 2, the dead Nightwing slash Skywing slash Icewing was staring me dead in the eyes. Well, hello to you too. My name is Ice Sky Knight. You can call me Ice for short. I passed out again. A minute later. Wake up, said Ice. Wake up, I'm not dead. You hear me? Not dead. I'm immortal, so wake up. Okay, I said sleepily. That earned me a slap across the face. Ow, I shouted. I'm up. Hey, where is everyone? Charcoal scared him back to the clubhouse, Ice told me. This is your battle now. By the way, look under the armchair. There's something you might find handy under there. I looked where she told me, and there were, as pretty as ever, the cut-proof pair of gloves and the sharp Bryan Adams Cuts Like a Knife CD. I laughed at that. 2 seconds later, I heard a soft poof. It was like poof behind me. And there's Charcoal. Stop disappearing and reappearing like my dad, I shouted at him. Charcoal. We going to fight? Me? Yeah. Let me go get my awesomeness on. Man, am I good at being annoying. Without taking my eyes off Charcoal. For some reason, he's not moving. I think he's planning a few tricks. I take a few steps back, so I'm slightly behind an armchair. That is to my right. I reach down, not taking my eyes off Charcoal, and grabbed, yes, you know what it is. It's called foreshadowing. An old cowboy hat I found laying behind it. Oh, yes, I said to Charcoal as I put on a cowboy hat. I should have been a cowboy. Country song reference 1. 1. Dude, said Charcoal as whiffs of smoke rose out of his snout. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Make me, I said, as I lit a oh, I had this in here. As I landed a candy cigarette with my Zippo lighter. I found both in an armchair, too. I'm stupid, okay? Charcoal let off a soft growl and charged at me. I had sidestepped his tackle, and he went sprawling over the armchair. While he was on the ground, I went over to him and said, Hey there, feller. You're looking a little down. He swung at me. I dodged it, but not fast enough. Charcoal raked his claws across my face, slicing my left cheek. Ow, shit, I said. Watch your mouth, screamed Charcoal. Looked at Charcoal in the eye and said, No. Charcoal got that look in his eye like the I'm about to burn you to a crisp type of look. I slowly started backing away and then bolted for the kitchen. Once I got to the kitchen, a very, very stupid idea floated to me. 4 seconds later, Charcoal appears and corners me in the corner of the cabinets. I reach under the sink and pull out a bottle of vinegar. There might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let that fool you what's inside. Country reference 2. I took a swig, not swallowing the contents though. Charcoal drew closer with, oh shit, the machete, once again in his claws. Behind my back, I lit a flame with my Zippo lighter. 2 more steps, I thought. 2 more steps. put my lighter in front of me when Charcoal took 2 more steps. Charcoal looked Charcoal looked at my gaze and knew he screwed up. I spit out the vinegar in a fine mist and my Zippo lighter caught it on fire. Charcoal dodged it and disappeared in the cloud of smoke. Hey, he said, grab the marshmallows. Grab the marshmallows. Next thing I know, Charcoal puts me in a chokehold and presses the machete against my throat, drawing blood. Hey, said Ice, behind Charcoal, pick on someone your own kind. With that said, Charcoal turned around, releasing his grip. With my window of opportunity, I dove out of his grasp, grabbed the glass vinegar bottle, and swung it at Charcoal's head. Charcoal ducked down, but not far enough. I made contact with his right horn, snapping it in half. How do you like me now? Country song reference 3. I screamed at him, going insane with rage, while I beat Charcoal with what was left of the glass bottle, which wasn't much. You work with what you gotta work with. Ice grabbed the machete. Ice, take Charcoal, I said, my face stinging because I got vinegar in my cuts. Will do, cowboy. Sorry, said Ice. With that, Ice managed to get Charcoal in a chokehold, pressing the machete against his throat. Don't kill him, I thought. Please don't kill him. Look into my eyes, Ice said to Charcoal. Look into my eyes. Terrified into obedience, Charcoal looked into Ice's eyes and slumped unconscious to the floor. You're an animus. Half-heartedly a question, I said to Ice. Yeah, so? Replied Ice. What did you... And then I too slumped to the floor, unconscious. 10 minutes later. Oh good, said Charcoal. He's starting to wake back up. Back away, said Ice. Get out of his line of sight so you don't scare him back into unconsciousness. I woke up with a start. What happened? I said to Ice. Ice replied, look down at your shirt and you tell me. I looked down at my shirt and all I see is red. Oh, I said, blood loss. By the way, recap time. You're an animus. Ice. Yes. Me. What did you do to Charcoal? Ice. Took away his evil. As if on cue, Charcoal walked in my room and from the kitchen, wearing my cowboy hat while lighting one of my candy cigarettes with a Zippo lighter. I felt no fear, because I guess I knew he was good, but you never know. Here, said Charcoal as he tossed me my hat, my Zippo lighter, and my candy cigarettes. No, I said in my best Western accent as I tossed him back my cowboy hat. You keep it. Looks better on you anyway. I also only tossed it to him because it had a hole in it. Only a hole for this horn. You keep it. Looks better on you anyways. Here, said Charcoal as he tossed me another thing. Caught it and examined it closely. It was his broken off horn. Battle scars, Charcoal. Charcoal turned and headed for the back door. Charcoal, wait, I said. I have a couple things for you. Being all too friendly. I tossed him a walkie-talkie. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out my spare Zippo lighter, small engraving tool, and another pack of candy cigarettes. I engraved to Charcoal from Brock into the Zippo lighter, and tossed the lighter and the candy cigarettes to him. Also, I said, take this to hold your stuff in, as I tossed him my spare utility bag, which was like, I had a bag inside of a bag. Brock, said Charcoal. Yeah, I said. After I leave, look in the master bedroom. I left something in there for you. With that statement, Charcoal left. I said, please walk me to the bedroom. I kind of need help. She did. When me and Ice got to the bedroom door, Ice looked at me and said, you first. I walked into the room and immediately started sobbing. On the bed, there was a pair of cowboy boots, jeans, and my cowboy hat that I gave to Charcoal. I knew it was my hat because it was singed and there was a hole in the top of the left side of the hat. Where's charcoal? Where charcoal's horn pierced through. Look, I said. Look, said Ice, and points to the right side of the hat. There's more. There's a note. I walked over to the note and picked it up. I read the note out loud, wiping away my tears at the same time. Dear Brack, wanted to leave you one last gift before I left. As you know, I'm an animist, so I decided to make a duplicate of the hat you gave me. I made the duplicate new, and I took the new one instead. I realized the symbolization of your hat. The hat is tough, and has been through more hell than one hat should, just like you. I'm very, very sorry for dragging you through so much. P.S. Look under your hat. Your cowboy get-up won't be complete without it. My greatest apologies. Charcoal. The room was so quiet. When I got done reading the note, I could hear my teardrops hitting the floor. I'm also sorry for putting you through so much hell, I said, looking out the window. Look under your hat. Said Ice. I did what she told me to. I picked up the hat and gasped at what was underneath. They were cattle spurs. Thank you, Charcoal, I said out loud. Try everything on, exclaimed Ice. Okay, I said. As I gathered everything and went into the bathroom, I'll be out in a few. Okay, said Ice. I examined myself in the mirror. I had 4 slashes on my left cheek, and the left side of my neck and shirt was blood-stained. I had claw marks all over my arms and my legs had slashes all over them. Battle scars, I said to myself. Ice banged on the door. Hurry up in there, she yelled at me, and Kaya yelled back. I put on the tan leather vest. I forgot to mention the vest earlier. Over my bloodstained shirt, my bootcut jeans, my I've been to hell and survived cowboy hat. Put the spurs on my boots, and then put on my boots, and then put them on. Ice, stand to the left side of the bathroom door, I said. If you say so, replied Ice. I kicked the door a little to the right of the doorknob. The frame gave away, and the door swung open. I should have been a cowboy, I sang, as I stepped. Okay, I'm back again. My camera died, and I wasn't paying attention. So, I'm just gonna continue where the last one left off. I just couldn't join these 2 videos. I got a lot more reading to do. Anyway, I should have been a cowboy, I sang as I stepped out of the bathroom. I should have learned to rope and ride, wearing my 6-shooter, riding my pony on a cattle drive. Bravo, bravo, said Ice and started clapping. Took off my hat and took a bow. Thank you. I'll be here all week, I said. I pulled out another candy cigarette and lit it on fire with my Zippo lighter. As soon as I put it in my mouth, I knew I screwed up. It was a real cigarette. As I was coughing my lungs out, I heard Ice laughing her tail off. Is that you? I asked Ice once I stopped coughing. Yeah, said Ice. I exploded in laughter. Let's get to your clubhouse, said Ice. Yeah, let's get out of here, I said back. As we walked to the front door, I grabbed my bag off the couch. Ice, hold this for a sec, I said, as I looked at the large window by the front door. I ran at the large window and dove through it. Glass shattered, but didn't cut skin. I'm sorry, I lost my place. I landed with a clean roll across the ground. I took off my vest and shook it out as glass fell to the ground. Hey, Ice, can you toss me my flashlight? I said. It's really dark out. No, really? Replied Ice, as she tossed me the flashlight. somehow caught it and flicked the switch, only to know that it was aimed at my face. After being momentarily, momentarily blinded, I shined it through the broken window. Jump through the window, I said. Really? No, said Ice. Got a better idea. Ice body slammed the front door, pretty much making it explode into a billion pieces. Then my right knee exploded with pain. Ow, got hit by the doorknob, I said with pain. How do you manage that? Ice asked me. I shrugged my shoulders. Where's my bike? I asked Ice. Ice told me that when Charcoal made them retreat back to the clubhouse, Cobra snapped her bike chain right in two, so she took mine instead. It's somewhere on the trail to the clubhouse, I said. Okay, so tell me, how were you born part Nightwing, Skywing, and Icewing? Well, explained Ice, my father was part Nightwing / Skywing, and my mother was pure Icewing. I managed to be born with all three of their traits. Do you breathe fire or frost breath? Sorry. Do you breathe Do you breathe fire or frost breath? I asked. Both, said Ice. Both? I asked. Yes, both, Ice said back. Want to see? Yeah, hell yeah, I said. All of a sudden, about 10 feet away, the ground burst into flames. There was a chilly blue glow around us, and the flames got extinguished by solid ice. Yee-haw, I screamed into the frigid night air. Dude, I said, you snapped. Yeah, I did, I said, and it feels great. I jumped up, forgetting about my hurt knee. Ow. Ooh, that hurt, I said after I landed back on the ground. You okay? Ice asked. Need support? No, I said as I hobbled down the path. I see Cobra's bike up ahead. I use that instead. Good, said Ice. Let's get a move on. 3 hours later. Darkness was still breaking through the trees when we arrived at the clubhouse. We survived, and me and Ice at the same time. I hobbled up the front steps, holding the railing, with a wobble here and a shimmy there. I took off one of my cowboy boots and pounded on the door. No answer. Okay, said Ice. What now? Key time, I said as I pulled off the bottom trim of the door. There's the key. I pointed to the shiny object that fell from inside of the frame. Wait here. Okay, said Ice. I unlocked the door and headed inside. Still no reply. I went to the kitchen sink and opened the drawer underneath and flicked on the what you think would be the garbage disposal switch. It's not. It's actually a light switch that turns on every single light in the house. I flicked it on and off a few times, then left it off. Still no response. I snapped. I picked up a bar stool and chucked it as hard as I could at the kitchen window, all while screaming at the top of my lungs. Then I went silent, my breathing heavy in my ears. Cobra? Moon? Anyone? I yelled desperately. Then I heard the basement door slam open. Brock, is that you? Cobra's voice. Cobra, I shouted as she stepped into view. I turned on the kitchen light and immediately got a dose of holy shit. What the fuck happened? Long story, I said. Where's everyone? Explained Cobra. Glory had a rainwing problem. Tsunami went to check on her mother, and Moon had to go back home. Starflight's still down in the panic room. Please go get him, I said to her. She looked at me in the eyes and said, Don't go anywhere. I embraced her in a hug and said through my sobs, I won't. Once Cobra went downstairs, I leaned my body out the broken window and told Ice to come inside. In showtime, I told her. Once Starflight came upstairs, I told told that I'll tell everyone everything later. Cobra, Starflight, there's someone I want you to meet. Okay, Ice, you're on the mic. With that, Ice walked into the house. Cobra and Starflight reactions were priceless. No, said Ice, I'm not dead. How? Asked Starflight. You saw the pictures. Ice looked at me, very confused. I pulled the camera out of my bag and held it up. Oh, said Ice. Anyway, said Ice. Long story short, I'm immortal. Explain, said Starflight. My mother was also an animus, Ice explained. She loved me so much, she made me immortal. There was one slight problem, though. I could still die, and she never fixed that. Oh, by the way, my name is Ice. Ice Sky Knight. Okay, good. Got that out of the way. Okay, Ice, said Cobra. Since you're half immortal, how old are you? I was friends with Darkstalker, Ice explained. Does that answer your question? Starflight's look obliterated that question. It was a look of incomprehensible confusion. That's not all, Ice continued to explain. Darkstalker knew about my half immortality. Anytime I made him mad, he'd take out his rage on me when he found me alone. He'd kill me, and kill me, and kill me. He'd kill me, and then hide my body where no one knew. Joke was on him, though. It only takes around 2 hours for me to come back to life. Most time it's ever taken to come back to life was 4 hours. I refused to explain that. I snapped after Darkstalker made his father kill himself. That night, I was the one finding Darkstalker. I found him in the graveyard and attacked him out of the blue. I was so close to killing him. I pinned him to the ground. I was just about to frost breath him in the face when he managed to free his arm from my grasp and cut my throat. As I bled to death, Darkstalker looked at me, getting around 4 to 5 inches away from my face, and said, "Don't try attacking me from now on." I tried to claw him, but managed only a weak attempt and collapsed into unconsciousness. My version of death. Sorry, I lost my place. A while later, I woke up underground in loosely packed dirt, dug myself out, and looked around. I was in a grave. No doubt, Darkstalker did that. I looked behind me and noticed a tombstone. It said, "Ice Sky Knight, beloved friend of no one, lies here, killed by the greatest dragon ever to live, Darkstalker." I finished digging myself out of my grave and very ferociously destroyed the tombstone. After that night, I fled, never to return. Wow, I said. Sorry you had to go through all that. Hey, I made it through, and so did you, I said in her best Western accent. Yes, we did, madam, I replied in my best Western accent. What about Charcoal? Said Starflight. What happened to him? Excuse me for a sec, I butted in. Oh, you can go, Ice told me. You're not going to miss anything important. Okay, I said as I made my way out of the door. Want to talk in the living room? I heard Ice say through the window I broke. Okay, I heard Cobra and Starflight say. Soon I could only hear the rustle of leaves outside. I turned my flashlight on and went down the steps. As I got off the steps, my flashlight flickered out of existence. I gave it a dose of Act Right by smacking the crap out of it. Even with the dose of Act Right I gave the flashlight, it didn't turn on. So I gave it a dose of Get Your Shit Together, aka throwing it with a cry of rage. I threw it at the darkness that engulfed the night ahead of me. Hey, watch where you're throwing that thing, someone yelled in front of me. Ah, I shouted in terror. I slipped on some dead leaves and fell flat on my back, losing my cowboy hat to the breeze, the darkness. Figure approaches, stops, looks down at me, says, "You looking a little," clicks on a flashlight, and says, "Down." Oh, holy shit, I said, when I realized who it was. Charcoal, oh my god, you scared me half to death. I think I think more than halfway, Charcoal said. Need a hand? Yeah, fallen screwed up my knee again. Charcoal pulled me up off the ground. How'd you mess up your knee? Charcoal asked me. Door got obliterated and the doorknob hit me. The flashlight, it was dead. How'd Animus? Charcoal said. Okay, let's introduce you now, I said to him. No thanks, Charcoal replied. Maybe another time. Where are you staying? I asked. The house that we fought in. I gave Charcoal a stare that involved 0 brain cells activated. Come over sometime and you can help me clean up the place and help replace the window and door. With that, he flew away, then circled back, flew above me, and yelled, By the way, Brock, cowboy hats on the coat hook in the entryway. What? How? I said stupidly. Animus magic, Charcoal yelled with delight. He did a corkscrew in the air, circled back again, and started toward the house he's now going to live in. Man, I said to myself, can't believe it started with him trying to kill me. Wait a minute, I said, noticing the darkness around me. I son of a gun took my flashlight. Plan B. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out my Zippo. I lit a nice flame and eventually found the front door. I opened the door, and there it was, my cowboy hat. Thanks again, Charcoal, I said thoughtfully. Brock, said Ice, where have you been? You've been gone for 10 minutes. Talking to Charcoal, I replied. You were talking to Charcoal and you didn't invite him in? Kroger yelled at me. I invited him in, I explained. But Charcoal said, No thanks, maybe another time. Where's he staying at? Where's he staying at? Asked Starflight. The abandoned house we fought in. Ice gave me a 0 brain activity stare. Brock, look what you did. Look what you did to Ice. You broke her. Cobra said, You broke her. No, I'm alright, said Ice. Irony hurts. I'm going to board up the window that Brock broke, Cobra said. Go get the stool, Brock. Hey, Cobra, I said back. Can you grab one of the crutches from the storage unit wall when you go down to grab the plywood? Why? Asked Cobra. Knee plus doorknob plus contact equals ow, I said. A doorknob exploded and he got hit by the doorknob. A door exploded and he got hit by the doorknob, Ice explained. Makes sense, Cobra said. Last week, Brock made a target out of plywood and he started throwing random knives at it. He found a box full of them in the shed in the backyard. He managed to get the handle of a chef knife stuck in the target instead of the blade. Then yelled at me to come down to the basement. He showed me and then pulled out a medium-sized bouncy ball from the box. He said, Watch this, and chucked the ball at what I assumed was the knife. He missed and the ball bounced back and hit him in the head, knocking him out cold. That's awesome, said Ice. When Brock wakes up, ask him a straightforward question. If he says something stupid, he's alright. How insulting, I said to Cobra. Okay then, replied Cobra, tell me. What was your response to the question, how many fingers am I holding up? I responded with a yes. Point proven, Cobra said. Please go get the crutch, I said. Okay, old man, Cobra replied. Back. I went outside and retrieved the stool. Hey, Ice, catch, I said as I tossed it through the window. Ice caught one of the legs, and then the stool decided to spontaneously disassemble itself. Ice looked at the leg of the bar stool she was holding and back at me, very confused. I'll duct tape it back together, I said. Starflight stuck his head out the window and called out, You never gonna get a girl. Hey, Ice, I said. Please beat Starflight up for me. Already on it, I said as Starflight let out a cry of pain. Hey, no tail stomping. Starflight yelled at Ice. Fine, Ice replied. Once I got back inside, Cobra walked up to me with a bar stool leg in her hand, and, and said, Care to explain? No, I replied. Ice does, though. Ooh, you just love throwing people under the bus, don't you? Said Ice. I plead the fifth, I said back. That earned getting at the crutch that Cobra was holding. Thrown at me. I caught it with ease and slipped it under my right arm. Thanks for the crutch, Cobra. Anyway, Cobra said, as she turned back to Ice, the stool. What happened? Spontaneous disassemblation, responded Ice. Okay, said Cobra. I'm going to bed. Me too, said Starflight. And don't wake me up by throwing knives at my door. Oh, I have something even better planned, I said. Whatever, Starflight replied back with an eye roll, and headed downstairs. Good night, Cobra, I yelled to Cobra, who was already upstairs. Night, Cobra yelled back. Ice. What did you want to talk about? Me. About charcoal. I know you're hiding something about it. Please tell me. Sorry, it's a long night. It's currently 10:47. Anyway. Ice. We share history together. He was born around the same time as me, and he's also half immortal. When we were young, I told him about how my mother made me half immortal, and he did the same thing my mother did to me. He said that we could be friends forever. He made a mistake that I never did, though. I protected my soul and made my animus powers so I could only use them for doing good. He never did that. He never protected his soul. We fled together after what Darkstalker did. Then he started using his animus powers and his soul filled with evil. For the next 1,500 and so years, he would kill me, and kill me, and kill me. Every so often, I'd fast forward a decade, and so would charcoal. Then you showed up. Ice was sobbing now. And you put an end to all my suffering. Thank you. I gave Ice a big hug and said, no, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now. You saved my life. You changed charcoal, and it saved my life. This also means that your friendship can be back on the line. Also, we have to go over to Charcoal's place and help clean and replace things. Okay. Do we need to bring anything? Ice asked. Yeah, I said, follow me. I grabbed my bag and took out my spare flashlight and my master key. We need to grab some things from the shed out back. I made my way outside with Ice close behind me. Clicked on the flashlight when I got out the door, but not in time for me to see the step down. I went sprawling and landed on my crutch, knocking the wind out of me. Ice stepped over me and picked up the flashlight. She shined it at me and said, you look a little winded. Just help me, please. I managed to say. Have you tried to get up yourself yet? Ice replied. No, you haven't. Get up. I was able to get halfway up before my crutch snapped in half. You're crutching it right now, Ice remarked. Huh, very funny, I said back as I got up. Fully recovered, except for the pain in my knee, I got to my feet, picked up my hat, grabbed the key, and made my way down to the shed. I unlocked the door with my master key and headed inside. Hey, where's the light switch? I said. Wait. I found it as I flicked it on. In the shed, 3 of the 4 walls are shelves lined with stuff top to bottom. The fourth wall, the door side, has stuff hanging on nails. I grabbed the folding chair from one of the corners. I stood on that and grabbed a pair of wood crutches high on the wall. Really, said Ice. Wood crutches? What could possibly go wrong? Yes, I said. Without warning, Ice kicked my chair off from underneath me. Or tried to, at least. I made the chair so that when it detects an impact or starts to tip over when there's weight on it, it drills itself into the floor so it won't budge. Oh, I said, you want to play that game? I took the crutch and hit the wall I was facing with it. That made the middle shelf right by Ice collapse, and a box of knives fell on her tail. Ow, screw you, Brock. Ow, screw you, Brock. Ice yelled at me. Never underestimate the power of dumb luck, I said. I said in response. What did we even come in here for? This is stupid. Ice yelled as she pulled a couple pocket knives out of her tail. Watch, I said. Sid took off the bottom rubber piece on one of the crutches. I shook out a key attached to a small chain. Here, catch, I said as I tossed the key to Ice. I got back on the chair and grabbed a crowbar. Jumped off the stool and pried off the floor in front of the door and pulled out a small safe. You're stupid, said Ice. And a genius, but you're stupid. Key me, I said. Ice, letting out a grudge, chucked the key at me as hard as she could. I grabbed the small floorboard next to me and caught the key with it in it. Careful, I said as I looked at Ice. The key stuck in the board, then back at Ice again. The key's sharp. No, really, said Ice. Yes, really, I said back. I made it to act like a pocket knife. Speaking of pocket knives, how's your tail? Hurts like hell and it's still bleeding, I said. I pulled the key out of the piece of wood and inserted it into the keyhole of the safe, front of the safe. I rapped on the safe 5 times. Knock, knock, knockety knock. It clicked back 2 times. I turned the key 90 degrees clockwise and pulled it out with the keyhole locking mechanism with it. How'd you manage that? Ice exclaimed. Just watch, I'm not done yet, I explained to her. Ice. I turned the safe to the back panel, pried it loose, and inserted the locking mechanism in it. I turned it 90 degrees counterclockwise and pushed it in. I heard the deadbolt slide away from the front. I turned the safe back to the front and opened the door. I grabbed the bandage roll, the small bottle of hydrogen peroxide, the other master key, and the other spare utility bag that was in it. Ice, let me see your tail, I said. Only if you don't do anything stupid, Ice replied. Deal, I said as I poured a bottle of peroxide on her wounds, then bandaged them. Then I put the safe back together and shoved it back under the floor. I was too lazy to get up and grab the hammer off the wall, so I hit the wall with the crutch and down the hammer fell. It clattered on the floor. I picked it up and pounded the board back in the floor. Keep any pocket knife you want, I told Ice. If you don't find any you like, I got a few special ones. Okay, let's get digging, I said as she pulled some boxes off the shelves. While she did that, I grabbed the crowbar and pulled up a board in the left back corner out. I reached in the hole and lifted out a small plastic box full of my favorite pocket knives. I opened it and grabbed my favorite pocket knife, an old-fashioned handsaw-sized pocket knife. It even had a blade protector. I looked further in the small box knives and found an all charcoal-colored knife. As I was admiring the knife, I was interrupted by a close pocket knife to the back of the head. Ow, I shouted in pain over the back of my head. What's that for? You've been staring at the knife for the last 5 minutes, I said. I thought you went brain dead. Yeah, well, now I'm one step closer to that, I said. Thanks. I said, yeah, no problem. I asked Ice if she found any good pocket knives yet. She said she found two. The first one had a blood red handle with a blue curved blade, and the second one was the one I made. It had a black and red handle with bars on the end. If you hold the knife with the blade up, the handle looks like a T. Careful with that, it's spring loaded, I said. Ice gave me a confused look. Here, let me demonstrate, I said as I took the knife from her. This is how it works, I explained. When you push the knife against something, let's say this brick, as I pulled a random brick from a shelf. I put the brick on the ground, floorboards. The knife will retract into the handle by a heavy-duty spring. Once the blade goes far enough into the handle, it will click and release the knife with terrifying force. I pushed the knife against the brick. The knife retracted into the handle. It clicked and went into the brick with a cloud of brick powder. And will pierce through anything, I said as I lifted the knife up with the brick attached. You can keep that, said Ice. I don't even want to touch that anymore. Okay, I said. Ready to go to bed? Yeah, I'll sleep on the couch, said Ice. Actually, it's a pull-out couch, I said. Ooh, even better, said Ice. I said. I closed the spring-loaded knife. With it closed, it looks like a red and black cylinder, and shoved it in my left jean pocket, along with the all charcoal-colored knife. Then I put the mini saw in my right pocket, grabbed the bandage roll, what was left of the hydrogen peroxide bottle, and put it in Ice's bag. Then, almost forgetting about the safe key, took the chain off the safe key, attached it to the spare master key, and gave it to Ice. Ooh, a necklace, said Ice. Then I took the other crutch off the wall and popped off the rubber bottom and pulled out another safe key on a chain. I moved the chain from the spare safe key, then attached the chain to my master key. Then I put the key around my neck and said to Ice, look on the other side of your master key. Ice looked and said, from Brock. I know, pretty cool, right? I said, you're a great friend, Ice said back. You are too, I replied. Now let's get out of here. Okay, but put your favorite knives away back under the floor, Ice told me. Oh, right, I said. Closed the knife box lid, shoving it back where it came from, then pounded the board back into the floor. Put the safe keys back in the crutches, then put them back on the wall. I didn't think I'd need them. I was right. I put the chair back in the corner, grabbed the crowbar and hammer, and then put them in my... What? I put the chair back in the corner, grabbed the crowbar and hammer, and put them in my bag. Ice grabbed the flashlight, opened the door, and went out into the darkness of the darkness. I followed close behind, flickered off the light switch, and closed the door on the way out. When we got inside, I went immediately to the kitchen to check the time. The microwave clock read 2:30 a.m. Ice, I whispered, so I wouldn't wake up Cobra. Going to get you up at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Clay, said Ice. About the bed. On it, I said as I walked to the living room, took the cushions off the couch and pulled out the pull-out couch part of the couch. Pre-made, I said Ice. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm going to take a shower now, I said. Yeah, you should. Wash your shirt in the shower, too. Okay, I said as I headed upstairs. I grabbed my pajamas and then took a shower. The shower was not great. The soap kept getting in my cuts. I got out of the shower, dried myself off, and started bandaging my legs because some of my cuts opened back up. I walked to my bedroom, picked out my outfit for tomorrow: jeans, a jean jacket, work boots, underwear, socks, t-shirt, and a hard hat I found in the basement some time ago. I set my alarm for 6:30 in the morning, got in bed, and was immediately out like a light. Part 2. Charcoal's house. I got up at 5:52 in the morning. I don't know why, I just did. Then that the thought that woke me up hit me. Make a necklace that holds Charcoal's horn, like a shark tooth necklace. I jumped out of bed, shut off my 6:30 alarm, got dressed, not putting on my work boots. They'd be too loud. Grabbed my bag. I found my very dim flashlight. I found my very dim flashlight and made my way to the main level. I checked on Ice to see if she was awake. I walked over to the living room and shone my light on the pull-out couch. Ice was sitting up, staring right at me. That startled me, and then I dropped my flashlight, and it rolled towards Ice. Ice picked it up, showing it at me, and said, "Well, good morning to you too, fraidy cat." "Jesus Christ," I said out of breath. "You about scared me to death." "About?" I said. "I did. You're on your second life, bud." "Scariest thing wasn't finding you awake," I told Ice. "Your eyes glow in dim light." "That was scary?" "Watch this," I said. She flicked off the flashlight, and needless to say, Ice's eyes began to glow a dark blood red, and then her pupils changed to horizontal slits like snake eyes. "That's aw scary, son," I said. "Sounds like you made that up," Ice replied. "Okay, Miss Spontaneous Disassemblation," I replied back. "Okay," said Ice, "you win." "Yeah, I know," I replied. "Can I have my flashlight back, please?" Ice turned it off and tossed it to me. "Ow," I said as the flashlight hit my face. I took a step back and slipped on either a Hot Wheel or a Matchbox car, and heard it roll away as I fell, hitting the floor on my right side with a big thud. I laid there a few minutes to catch my breath, and before my eyes adjusted dark. Painfully got to my knees and started to slowly groping around for my flashlight. I found it for about 30 seconds later. Okay, this is all. Thank you for all of this. Thank you for staying with me. I am going to combine this video into one video as well. The second notebook will be a separate video. I don't want to include this one because this one's already over an hour long, I bet. Yeah, this half is 34 minutes, up 35 now. So that'll be it. Peace out.